Morning punters, happy 2026. There's no Melbourne racing today. Normally Flemington has the New Year's Day program and they ran it last night, and well, look at the crowd, it was a raging success, so well done. Very simple metric. People attending big numbers, it worked. So if you only criticise and never praise, you've got no credibility, just as if you only praise and never criticise. So good stuff there, huge crowd. Meeting was a bit meh, but that didn't matter to the party crowd. And if you want to get people involved in racing, that's a good thing. So, bit of a Perth Cup chat. And Ascot, we covered the Perth scene for 6 weeks. So I got a pretty good handle on the form over there, even though year round I mainly concentrate on Melbourne. So favourite today is a Apulia, quality stayer. So the easy way to say this is, if he repeats what he did last start, he will win again. And what a boring thing to say that is at $1.80. So can he get beaten? Well, they can all get beaten. So a couple of dynamics to consider. It was a really high pressure race. So, and he had the perfect pikey ride and run. So there shouldn't be any flatness from it. He's drawn inside now. He also likes to relax in his races. Now he has got the wizard on, but you know, if he's 4 or 5 pairs back on the fence, could that see him beaten? It could. Lucy Fiore, who I think is a bit of a rising star, will rides the leader, Filthy Habits, who led last start, is a natural leader, and blinkers go on now. No doubt they put the blinkers on because he might have switched off a bit in the finish when he was narrowly beaten. Sometimes when the blinkers go on, particularly a leader, particularly going up in trip, they could just over race. A bit of chaos theory can kick in there, can't it? In other words, once the barrier's open, anything can happen in a horse race. And what if Filthy Habits just leads by 6 or 10 lengths and it strings right out? Well, when that happens in a tearaway leader situation, horses can find themselves in non-winning positions, particularly those drawn low who are stuck, just waiting for gaps to open. Again, I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm saying, you know, part of the way of thinking, particularly if you're trying to get a favourite beaten in quotation marks, is what might happen. So that might happen. The other thing, I think, as an overview, Buckets Ridge is an insane price. I think it's out to $14. Now, he was super after he won last start on the 6th. Billy Egan rode the perfect race, took off in the mid-race, full momentum. And you thought, well, there's a perfect Perth Cup trial. And he was immediately installed as favourite. He hasn't raced since. So the new information that's come along has been Apulia being super. I get that. Apulia should be dominant favourite that he is over Buckets Ridge. But now $1.80 versus $14. That's the last time I checked anyway. 9:30 Melbourne time. That's crazy. He's got a high quality jockey in Luke Nolan on. And again, if Filthy Habits really rolls him along, the wide barrier, which I think has pushed his price out, can become an advantage, because when there's a high pressure strung out field, well, nothing gets caught 3 wide because everything slots in, and that gives Buckets Ridge the chance to go to sleep. And the third factor that I think has to be put on the table is that, trained by Grant and Alana Williams, and again, I only tune into Perth closely for 6 weeks of the year, and we do 4 weeks of preview podcasts with Vince Accardi. That stable are phenomenal, and I don't think there's any stable anywhere in the country better than it. Ma, Walla, you know, the usuals you want to tip your hat to, but better. And at targeting a race, again, a filter we like using when we do our preview pods on big race days is which horse has been sole focus set for this race with no setbacks since the time they came back from a spell. I'd have to say Buckets Ridge. And it ticks the box with some quality. It won on a super fast Northern Cup mile. I think it was called the Cup anyway. It's their good mile last spring. Tipped out, 3 cameo runs, almost like Team Williams on this side of the country, the way the great man Lloyd would give his horses a bit of a cameo in the autumn before targeting a Melbourne Cup. So anyway, I think Buckets Ridge is really good odds. The Grand and Pair are the obvious, Forever Boy and Diamond Scene. But for multis, a couple to consider. Sentimental Hero, the veteran Kalgoorlie Cup winner. God bless him, I was over there for it, or her. Just gets to go to sleep barrier and through high pressure races. And I think deserves inclusion in the multis. And one at odds, well, this day last year, Grand Piero won the Bagot at Flemington. He has blinkers on. Earlier this prep, beaten 3.7 lengths at Caulfield by Andy Stay. You probably heard of him, called Half Yours. Now, he had a couple of sideways runs and maybe switched off, but if the blinkers fire him up to do his best, he's $41. So one to consider for multis, because if he does what he did this day last year, he won't be far off. So anyway, in summary, no knock to Puglia, just the price is so tight. Do think Buckets Ridge is value, and do think Grand Piero is it's one to consider for multis. Elsewhere, Machine Gun Gracie, the Derby and Oaks winner. First up, slow tempo, big mid-race surge. Now, Love and War got past it. Love and War's favourite over Machine Gun Gracie, but Love and War was already fit. I reckon that's going to be the real come-on run for Machine Gun Gracie. She sits on the speed, and she's a quality mare. I think today's her day. And the pikey to be with in race 6, Territory Man. Lovely win at Belmont last start. Nice time. Lightly raced horse in the up. 1400 a mile looks ideal. And he's eased, I think, because of the barrier. You ever seen Pikey come down the middle of the track at Ascot win? About 8 million times. And there's a listed race at Canterbury. It's been good money for the instructor, which I get. I'll warn you about one thing, and he trialled super leading in. But first up last prep, he won easily at Moonee Valley. Now that Moonee Valley track was playing like a toilet that day. And he got to the front and just kept going, and nothing could make ground on the day. It was just, it's false form. He's not false. Now, I want to emphasise the difference. He went on and was super at Scone during their carnival, and he's a real high quality sprinter. But King Secret should stalk it. King Secret was career PB last start 11 days back, and 4th best last 800 today, but just the 27th best last 200. That can mean two things at 1100. Maybe that's the end of his distance range. I think it's unlikely, even though today's his first go at 1200. Or it could mean he's third up today and rockets fitness wise. And if that happens, I think he'll run past the instructor. So they're the ones I like. King Secret at Canterbury, Territory Man race 6 at Ascot, Machine Gun Gracie race 8. And as I said, Apulia deserves to be favourite. If he's too tight or you don't like those price, consider Buckets Ridge each way. I'll do Geelong next on Saturday for their standalone meeting via racetrackralphie.com.au. And gamble responsibly and go D's and all that stuff.